In this nugget, I want to show you 3 of the core storage services that we have in Amazon Web Services. When you're building something like an EC2 instance, you need storage for that virtual machine. It needs a virtual hard disk where it can have the operating system stored and the data files that are being created inside of that virtual machine. This is something that Amazon created elastic block storage for. So it looks just like a real hard disk. Watch this. If I go into the EC2 console and we launch an instance, let's launch this Amazon Linux instance. So I'll select it. I'll say for an instance type, we want this T2 micro. That's fine. I'll just accept the default instance details. Notice the 4th step is for you to add storage, and it is adding a new root device for us of 8 gigs in size, and it's even using a nice SSD, a solid state disk, for great performance. And this is that simple to create. Notice that this virtual disk is created for us. We can resize it here, and we could even resize it later on if we need it to be bigger. So elastic block storage is certainly a foundational storage component for us. But there's another great storage component, and that is listed under storage in our services, and it's called S3 for the simple storage service. These are buckets that you can store objects in. So notice right here, I have an AWS networking photos bucket, and if you go inside there, you'll see that I created these folders, and one is called miscellaneous photos from my Dropbox, and another is called miscellaneous photos from my OneDrive. And if you click on one of these, you can see the actual objects that are inside it. So there's this photo right here, 59129 JPEG, and if I can click on it there, which I can get details about that object. Notice there's a link to that object. If I click that link, it's going to fire open that image. Now, why that worked is because I have this object marked with public permissions. Let me show you. If we go to the permissions tab, you'll see that under public access, I am giving everyone read access to that object. So that's why I was able to use that link in order to see that object. If you don't give public access, then you better be truly trying to reach out to that object with a user account like up here that has read permissions for that object. So the S3 storage buckets are great for object-based storage. But there's one more storage component that I want to show you. So I'm clicking the back button in my browser to go all the way back out. We'll go to our list of services here. And the service that I want to talk to you about for storage is Glacier. What Glacier is for is archiving stuff that you are not going to access frequently, but maybe a corporate policy says that you need to hang on to the stuff for maybe 3 years. There's some kind of a record that our company says, I know we're not going to really need it, but we need to archive it for like a 3-year period. Glacier would be perfect for that. It doesn't give you quick access to what you're storing inside it, but it gives you access to it should you need it. Sometimes it can take hours for you to actually retrieve some object in Glacier. So again, don't think speed here, but think low-cost archiving of your data. So in this nugget, we examine 3 critical storage services of Amazon Web Services. The Elastic Block Store, or EBS, and this is going to allow us to create hard disks for our EC2 instances. That is one use of EBS and the primary one. Then we have S3, the simple storage service, where we can create buckets to store objects. And by the way, there's no limit to the size of a bucket. If your bucket gets massive, that'll cost you a lot of money every month, but there is no limit to what you can store in the cloud. And then finally, we had the Glacier service. The Glacier service is for archiving data. I hope you found this nugget informative, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.